It's actually the case that people have been deliberately misreading the laws of America that guarantee anti-monopoly enforcement. That if you squint hard enough at these laws, you will find that all they care about is blocking harmful monopolies, not monopolies per se. That they don't care about power at all. All they care about is prices. If a monopolist is raising prices because they have market power, then the state should intervene. So along comes Jeff Bezos, who has a lot of access to the capital markets.
Hi there, who are you?
I'm Jeff Bezos.
And what is your claim to fame?
I'm the founder of Amazon.com.
Where did you get an idea for Amazon.com?
Well, 3 years ago, I was in New York City working for a quantitative hedge fund when I came across the startling statistic.
People like his vision, which is to take over all of commerce, right? So first of all, to make all commerce electronic commerce, and then to make all electronic commerce happen within Amazon's boundaries. Investors really like the idea of a monopoly. They hate competition. Peter Thiel says competition is for losers. Warren Buffett very famously has a giant hard-on for companies with wide sustainable capital moats, which is to say businesses that nobody can compete with.
And you want to always avoid competition. And so hence competition is for losers, something we'll be talking about today.
And so investors threw money at Jeff Bezos, and that let him do what he calls the flywheel. And here's how the flywheel works. Jeff Bezos uses his investors' capital to subsidize the price of goods on his platform. Some of those goods come from suppliers that Amazon deals with directly, so they're ordering books from publishers and putting them in their warehouse and then listing them on Amazon. And a lot of them, increasingly, and these days I think the majority of those goods come from third-party sellers that just sell through Amazon.
Amazon under pressure. State investigators from California and Washington State reportedly looking into the tech giant's business practices.
So what is being looked at right now is the dynamic between Amazon and external sellers. So that let's say is a mom and pop shop selling their product on Amazon, and how Amazon is able to use data on the purchase data, the amount of money going into sales and marketing to actually create competing products with Amazon's own third-party vendors. And the reason this is so key is that due to the fact that Amazon has so much data on both what consumers are buying as well as how third-party vendors are selling it, it's leading to the conclusion that it's a handful of very unfair business practices as it relates to these third-party vendors.
And so at first, Amazon allocates the surplus, the money that comes from its investors, to consumers. And it says, you can buy these goods at a loss from me. And you consumers will be gathered into my silo. And that silo, it has both chains of steel and kind of silk ribbons that bind customers to Amazon. So the silk ribbon would be something like your Prime subscription, where if you give Amazon some money, it'll throw a ton of benefits at you to make sure that for the whole year, the only place you shop is Amazon. More than 95% of Prime shoppers start their shopping on Amazon, and if they find the product they're looking for, they don't shop anywhere else. But then there's the chains of steel that bind customers to Amazon. So if you buy a book from Audible, which is Amazon's monopoly audiobook distributor with 90% of the market, it mandatorily comes encrypted with Amazon's digital rights management. And it's a felony to remove that digital rights management and move the audiobook to another platform, which means that every book that you buy on Audible is locked to Audible forever. And if you quit Audible, you have to throw away the books, or you have to just never resign from Audible, never get rid of your account. So you're an Audible customer for life at the expense of all the books you've ever bought from Audible. And so with all of these customers locked up in this choke point, Amazon lures in more businesses who need to reach those customers, which is a reason for more customers to get within Amazon's walled garden, right? To sign up for Amazon. And then once that you reach a kind of critical mass, once those customers are locked in, Amazon can start allocating some of that surplus to its shareholders instead of to the users or to the sellers. So Amazon can say to those sellers, for example, if you want to be listed on the front page, you need to be Prime eligible and you need to be fulfilled by Amazon. And the fees for that come out to sort of 40 to 50% of the sale price of your goods. But also you have to sign, just like with Spotify, a most favored nation deal. So if you raise your prices to cover those fees, you have to raise them everywhere else. So the price on Amazon will be the same price as Walmart or, Costco. But that's because if you raise the price in order to make staying on Amazon sustainable, you have to raise the price on Costco and Walmart. That's one of the reasons that when you tell Amazon, when they have a price matching deal, when you tell them that you found a better price somewhere else, they really want to know where else it is because they want to punish the seller for violating that most favored nation status deal and force them to raise the price in that other firm. And giving you a refund of the difference is cheap for Amazon if the benefit of that is being able to extinguish this rival's competitive advantage. And so you get this kind of what Amazon calls a virtuous cycle, but what is really a vicious cycle, this flywheel that goes faster and faster.
I want to go back to the sort of core approach that our company has taken to take care of customers and grow the company. And it's this thing we call the virtuous cycle. It is true, it was written on a napkin by Jeff probably 8 or 9 years ago. The napkin will eventually be in the Smithsonian Institution, I imagine, but we've taken the liberty of converting it into PowerPoint.
The more customers there are locked in, the more concessions it can wring from its suppliers. The cheaper or the more suppliers it can bring in, the more customers will sign up, and so on and so on and so on. Actually, in the long run, what this is doing is just producing more and more surpluses, both from consumers and from producers, that Amazon gets to allocate to its shareholders. And the ultimate version of this is Amazon gets to use its intelligence and insight into how the market is structured based on the fact that it sells everyone's goods, and it can decide whose goods to clone. And it can just clone their goods, and it can put its clone of their goods way above those original goods on the search results. So if you search for product X, you don't get product X, you get Amazon's clone of product X. And to find product X, you might have to click 2 or 3 screens in. And that's when Amazon gets all the surplus for itself.